double check that we are.
And I immediately start with a yawn. Very good.
We start with the cat wandering out of frame.
I still got a kitty cat.
You still
I saw a tail.
You got a kitty cat. Hello, Leia.
All right. We are actually live. I don't know if anybody's here.
We kind of didn't do a good job of...
I didn't do any promo. I spent like 3 evenings in a row thinking, oh my God, I need to schedule the live show and post something. And
I posted the link on Mastodon half an hour ago.
I did it like an hour before I went live. I was like, I had so much time to prepare for this and I did not. Great life choices.
See, I am now not on Twitter anymore. Like, I have a Twitter account, but I'm not using it. It's just there so that it isn't used for any nefarious things by other people.
I did post on Twitter because, unfortunately, Blue Sky, I've yet to find a good alternative to Twitter for sports stuff. So,
the artist formerly known as Twitter.
Look, the only acceptable time to dead name is Twitter.
Yes. I do think that Blue Sky is becoming more and more of a true alternative to Twitter, but until they get like hashtags to work the same way, it's not the same. They do have DMs now, though.
Can you post GIFs still? Because I think that was also like you can't post GIFs.
Yes, you can do that now, or at least memes and stuff. I don't spend a lot of time trying to post on Blue Sky. Anyway, keeping up our tradition of starting off the live show with just random stuff. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the May Stitch and Bitch. I almost said June. It's the very end of May.
We're all dreaming of summer.
Yeah. We're here to discuss what we've been reading and watching and otherwise enjoying while some of us are working on our crafts. So let's go around and do our quick introductions. I'll go first because we're on my channel. I'm Rachel. My channel is Colonati. I do not post regularly on booktube stuff anymore, but I do these live shows every month. I read fantasy and science fiction and nonfiction, and right now also Full Metal Alchemist. So we'll be talking about that.
Yes,
that's me. Di.
Hi, my name's Diana. My channel is Bookish Di. I've kind of been on an unintentional hiatus. I mostly read science fiction, fantasy, and nonfiction, as well as a bit of romance. And I am joined today by one of my kitties.
Hi.
She's like, absolutely.
Oh, she's like, no.
Leia looks so disturbed. Like, how dare you?
I think it's because I'm holding her, and it's like not her shoving her butt in the camera like she does whenever I'm on work Zooms.
I'm convinced that she knows when we're on live shows, and she's shunning us. Like, she's like, I'm not going to appear.
Which is so funny because, like, I'll be on work Zooms, and that's when both Luke and Leia will be like, mother, I crave the affection. And I'm like, okay, that's fine, but, like, you cannot, like, walk over my keyboard. You cannot, like, shove your butt into the webcam.
I was on an actual Zoom call on Friday with somebody who was working from home, and one of their 3 cats kept jumping up on the table and presenting the butt and going in for head scratches and stuff, and they kept like throwing them off the table. And I was like, just let us see the cat.
That's me. Like,
that's also me. Whenever I work remote, it's the cat just coming in, like. Like just zooming their face in.
Yep. Anyway, sorry, Di. Did you introduce yourself?
Yeah, I just did.
Okay. Kelsey.
Hi, I'm Kelsey. I'm the Fancy Hat Lady Reads on YouTube and TikTok. I am actually making a comeback from my unintended hiatus. I filmed 1/3 of a video last night.
Woo!
This is my problem. My videos always, I'm very long-winded and they take longer to film than I was prepared to. Like I thought I was going to film and upload this entire video last night and I only got through 1/3 of it. It is 3 different series reviews in one video. So like I should have did that. It would take, but I have like an hour and a half of footage now and I only got through one of the series. So
maybe you need to split it into like 3 videos for all of the series.
Yes. But then I would have to completely refilm the introduction. I'm too lazy to do that.
You could do it. You could do it at the very end and just, you know, say I split this into 3. I used to do it all the time.
Yeah, or just skip the intro entirely and just, you know, jump into the review.
Anyways, my unintended hiatus, I realized, was in fact an I have a new cat hiatus, not like an other things making my life bad hiatus, you know? So like this is the first video I've tried to film with the new cat sharing my video filming space with me. She is younger and more active than either of my previous cats, for anyone who's unaware of that. And she, for significant portions of what I filmed yesterday, was just sitting on the back of the chair behind me. And I hope she keeps this up. I hope that's like her new perch for when I'm filming booktube videos, because that would be absolutely too cute for words. Anyways, the other place you can find me, since I have the new cat, is on our shared human cat bookstagram catstagram account, which is the Fancy Cat Lady Reads. All one word, at the Fancy Cat Lady Reads. So you can hopefully see a booktube video with both me and Sunshine coming soon, but until then, you can find Bookish Cat content on Instagram, and I'm also on TikTok.
Cool. Reija?
Yes, hi, I'm Reija. My channel is The Bookfinch. I recently did a video and I'm currently kind of planning some Hugo-related content, doing like ranking videos for the short stories and stuff. So those coming at some point. I'm not stressing too much about the schedule. I will do stuff when I feel like it. I mostly talk about comics, manga, and also webtoons and fantasy books, and sometimes science fiction books. So yeah, that's me.
Cool. Do we want to go around and talk about what we are working on if we have crafts?
Sure. Let's
go
do
in
it.
reverse order. So Reija, you're up again.
As per tradition, I am notorious for not finishing anything. So I am once again working on the cursed sweater that I am still optimistic about, that maybe I will finish this by Scotland. But as you can see, I'm not even halfway through. So it's getting a little bit, I'm getting a little bit like anxious about it, but I'm trying my best.
How many weeks do you have?
Like 8 weeks.
Oh God, I hope it's more like 9 or 10.
Yes.
I'm not prepared.
But I like, let's put it this way. It's more like 8 weeks for me, because I know that there's midsummer, which is 3 days that I spend with my family, so there's no knitting. And then there's Tuska, which is 3 days of headbanging at a metal festival. So that's 1 week already that kind of is reduced from the knitting time. So
Joe is in the chat, so maybe he'll tell us exactly how many days it is until...
Let's put it this way. Hope for the best, fear for the worst.
Sounds about right.
I believe in you, Reija.
I try.
Kelsey?
So I have a couple things I'm doing. I'm starting off with some light mending. I just sewed a button back on the sweater. Very proud of myself. I've been procrastinating that. Also, have been procrastinating trying to do something about this edge on this pretty dress that is just absolutely frayed to pieces. So I'm going to try to finish that edge in an appropriate way so it doesn't absolutely. Because I want to salvage this dress. I haven't really worn it in years, but I'm feeling it again, and I'm thinking maybe this could be what I wear to the Hugo ceremony this year.
It's very colorful. I like it.
Very summer.
Yes.
Very summer. And
it would go well with the fascinator you have with the blue feather.
Blue feather.
If I remember the feather.
You know, oddly, I had kind of been thinking that it looks kind of cute, even though the colors don't actually match with my my golden fascinator witch hat. That's Halloween usually. The blue one, it might go really well, or it might clash. That's the thing.
If it's similar but not quite the right.
Yeah, let me grab it.
You could accessorize and make it work.
We can see. Let me grab this. This is also, it's got brown, and the dress doesn't really have any brown.
But you could accessorize with brown accessories.
Yeah.
Like brown shoes and a brown belt or something.
This is the hat. This is the dress. Is that like too much? I guess the light here isn't great for seeing color on camera.
Looks like a very different kind of blue on the fascinator.
Yeah. This is like, it's a turquoise blue, and this is more like blue. Even though there's also green in this. I don't know. I don't have a hat that's like an easy match for this, which is the only problem. Anything I go with is going to be a little bit of a stretch. But
what about one of your Easter bonnets?
Yeah, you know what that means, though. If you don't have a hat that matches, it's time to get another hat.
Yeah, that's
You know what I was thinking just as we were waiting to go live here, and I was like, it's summer, it's too hot for me to be wearing one of my like hats on the live stream for comfort reasons.
Time to get a tiara or a diadem.
Well, tiara, but I was thinking with like this sort of summer blouse, what I really need that I don't have in my hat wardrobe is a flower crown.
Ooh, yes.
Why don't I have a summer flower crown? Like, that's something I would actually wear out and about.
Are you gonna make one, or are you gonna buy one?
I don't know. If I make one, it's gonna be like shoddy construction, right? But it will look exactly like I want it to. I don't know if anyone knows of good like small businesses selling nice quality flower crown headpieces. Drop me a recommendation in the comments. Because I don't want to just like buy something cheap off Amazon. Like I want something nice, right?
Yes.
I would recommend Etsy, but Etsy's become a nightmare lately.
Yeah.
It depends. Like if you know who like the business owner is and they link you to their Etsy shop, like then
yeah, but if you're just like searching.
If you're just searching Etsy, it's very hard. Yeah.
My go-to recently has actually been Instagram.
What?
My go-to recently has actually been Instagram because most of the creators there post to their like websites, or their websites are linked in their bio. So I have gotten a lot of
Ren fair. I've never actually been to a Ren fair.
It would be a great place to try to find one.
Is it
think there's
worth like going all the way to a Ren fair, like out of the city?
I think Ren fairs are pretty nice anyway.
Flower Crown?
Because there's like usually at a Ren fair there's like a bunch of different like creators
Yeah.
like for other things.
And there's almost always someone dressed as a Trekkie.
Anyways,
I haven't seen that at a Ren fair, but lots and lots of costuming options. Yes, for sure.
What is this?
Flower Crown in either purple or yellow with green leaves would look great with this dress.
Yes.
Why is there a hole in this sweater?
What's the
Since
whole,
when?
To vex you.
And okay, so then if I finish this sewing project, which I will, I did discuss in our group chat that I was being influenced by TikTok to try embroidery. I got on the embroidery tutorial side of TikTok somehow, and I was like, ooh. So instead of buying something from TikTok shop, I went to Michael's and bought like a tiny embroidery kit. Where is the, I don't know where the instructions are, but this is a little bee pattern. And I started it. And then the flimsy needle that came with the kit snapped in half. And so then I had to order more needles because the needles need to have like a bigger eye than normal sewing needles, or else you can't get like the multiple threads of embroidery floss through them for bits where you need to have the thicker thread. Anyways, so my replacement needles finally came, and if I can find where I put the dang instructions, I will have another go at this.
I do use tailoring needles for embroidery, but I usually don't use the full floss. I usually split it so that I only have 2 or 3 threads.
The instructions
embroidery floss
are telling me how many threads I need for each part of the pattern, and it's like anywhere from 1 to 4. And I didn't have any needles with a big enough eye to put 4 strands through. I tried. Anyways, I am very beginner at this. So I'm hoping that what I bought on Amazon is going to work. Also, like, I think the reason the needle that came with this cheap pattern broke is because this is extremely thick, rough, very hard to puncture burlap. And then they included this like absolutely flimsy bendy needle. I'm like, how is that supposed to work?
Hey, buddy.
That's kind of weird.
Anyways, that's what I'm working on.
Di?
I'm currently still working on the scarf, but right now I'm detangling yarn because I had to frog a section and the yarn has gotten into a knotted mess. So that's what we're doing. But also, we have our other
Look! Such a cute void.
He is so cute. And unlike his sister, he doesn't try to eat my yarn.
Yeah, yarn eating not good for cats.
Yeah, no.
He doesn't try to eat it. She attacks it. Luke just doesn't care. As long as it doesn't get in the way of him dominating my, like, having my lap, he's fine.
Sunshine attacks my hair when I am in bed. Like, if there is hair on my pillow, she will pounce upon it and try to murder it. It's very cute, but also annoying.
It's great as long as your hair's long enough that it's like away from your face.
I had that happen with Hedda when I had long hair. She would eat it.
Neither of my cats are super interested in my hair.
Well, it's because you have yarn. Expensive yarn. They can always tell.
Although lately Leia's been into my hair ties, so I've just been giving them to her.
I'm thinking maybe now that my hair is so dyed, Hermes doesn't want to touch it because of that. It tastes of chemicals.
Maybe. Hello to everybody in the chat. Hi, Joe. Mr. Rorosori. Jill says it is 74 days until Worldcon starts.
So more than 8 weeks then.
We're going to be in Scotland like 5 days before the con starts, I think. So...
Yeah, I can knit in Edinburgh if need be. I can.
You're going to be running around. You're not going to be working on craft.
I can be in the airplane just like finishing and hemming my sleeves.
Is the flight?
Is it possible that I don't have any navy blue thread? That can't be right. I need to find some. Have some.
What are you making, Rachel?
I'm still saying hi to people, sorry. Hi, Ron and Glenn and Brett. Oh, Joe has a nephew called Luke. So it sounds like we're talking about his nephew all the time. All right, what I am working on. I have been bitten by this sewing bug, which happens approximately once a year, and I'm usually not very good at sewing things or finishing projects, but I'm on a roll right now, and I am starting on the skirt that I'm going to be wearing to the Hugo Award ceremony. It's red silk. It's very lovely. So I've cut that out and I need to do the serging, but I'm actually sitting here whip stitching the edge of the waistband because I don't want to have to deal with the bulk of the serging on this thing. So I have never tried to whip stitch the edge of something to keep it from unraveling before, and I'm very bad at it. Very, very bad at it. But yeah, that's what I'm doing. I'm prepping a sewing thing, and when I'm done with this, I will be working on some spinning with my support spindle. So, and if anybody else is working on stuff, they should let us know in the chat. All right. Want to talk about books?
Yeah.
Sure, let's do it.
Anybody raring to go first, talk about what they've read or what they're currently reading?
No.
I think I have been reading the least, probably, but I've also started a lot of new things, so.
Been reading a good deal, but it's all been mediocre.
Is it Hugo stuff?
Some of it.
I have not read a ton of stuff on the Hugo list since the last live show, but I have read a little bit, and I'm still having a good time, but just not really with the Lodestar nominees. So
I finished The Left-Handed Booksellers of London, and it was good. It was delightful. I immediately went and I've started reading the Sinister Booksellers of Bath. I'm about 20-30 pages in now. Merlin just got stuck in a place.
Isn't Merlin the best, like, little chaos ending?
Yeah, Merlin is a little chaos gremlin.
Yeah,
I like him. He's also someone who clearly does not respect, like he doesn't understand people's boundaries, maybe.
No.
Like he is very much like clueless about that. He just kind of goes wherever he pleases.
Yep.
But I'm enjoying the books. It's interesting.
Have you was the snowmobile thing in the first book or is it in the second book?
Snowmobile did not make an appearance in the first book at all.
We've got a great scene coming up. One of those scenes where you go, man, this person is chaotic, but also when they need to be, they're incredibly competent.
There was a plenty of those scenes in the first book as well, where like he was just the shenanigans he got into was like, what the hell. But yeah, that's what I've been reading. I also have like a bunch of stuff that I'm like rearing to start soon. Like, I mean, I'm glad that the voter pack came in, because at some point I need to return these to the library, and I'm slow. I'm very slow. It took me a month to finish the Left-Handed Booksellers of London, because for some reason I'm just like I'm just slow apparently with like reading.
So I took quite a while to finish that one as well, but because I was only having a moderately good time with it, unfortunately.
I had a good time, but it's like I usually only have time to read during my commute, and so yeah. Anyway, I have just been like having I've been more into recently with the webtoons. I started a new one again called Opposites Attract, which is BL boys love contemporary romance. And I started it and I felt like, okay, this is gonna be bad. This is gonna be one of those like red flag, like awful things. And then it completely subverted my expectations and turned out that it's actually really good. And it actually really talks about consent and like feelings and communication between the main characters. And especially because the other like romantic interest is like neurodivergent, like he's got Asperger's basically, like he's very doesn't really understand other people's emotions nor his own emotions. Like he's kind of like he has emotions, but he's like doesn't really get what they mean. So that creates a lot of tension between his partner, who's like super emotional and needs a constant validation. So it's really interesting. Like I've really loved it. And it follows like two couples basically. But it's like it's not really like stated like fully what his deal is. Like it's just that he has some kind of neurodevelopmental thing that makes it like difficult for him to kind of relate to others.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I think it's like been really interesting so far. It's very rare that you see that kind of representation, and also that kind of representation where the person is not vilified for it. So yeah. And the other thing that I've been reading is High Society, which is a fantasy romance where a guy basically recruits an orphan to play his sister so that he can avoid getting married to this noble family's daughter by having the noble family's son marry his fake sister. And guess what? He's probably going to fall in love with the fake sister at some point. So, shenanigans.
For some reason, that just reminded me of this really terrible movie that I just randomly watched on Netflix, The Tearsmith. Yeah.
Oh, I see. I've seen adverts for it, and I've been like, what is this?
I didn't even see a trailer for it. I just clicked on it. I needed something to watch while I was painting my nails.
Okay.
And then I got pulled into it, and I was like, it's based on like a YA romance book that was originally published in Italian. And wow.
So it was not good then?
Cringe. Let's put it this way. It's incredibly explicit for being about teenagers. And the screwed up male love interest does a lot of licking.
Of what?
Her.
Okay.
Anyway, they're both adopted from the same orphanage, and they didn't like each other very much before, so it's kind of like enemies to lovers, but also we don't want to be adopted by the same people because we don't want to be siblings. Anyway, Don't watch it. It's terrible.
Okay. Glad to know. I'm not going to then. But yeah, those are basically the things I have mostly been reading. Oh, and Fly Me to the Moon, which is the vampire, not a vampire mafia drama, the webtoon. That also started its second season, so I'm reading that. And I'm still waiting for the main female main character to come into her power, because I'm kind of getting tired of her getting pushed around by these two brothers who she's basically in a love triangle with, and I'm just like, can she just come into her own power and agency so that I don't have to watch like these guys just come into the rescue every other chapter? Because clearly there's indication, like there's these hints that, ooh, she's more than she seems, she might have some hidden supernatural powers, and I'm like, yes, can we have those, please?
Show us.
Show us, please. But yes, that's it for me.
Okay. Mr. Rorosori read A Letter to the Luminous Deep, which I have heard the title of that before.
Yeah,
Well,
it's
very curious about that book, because I saw it described as like light academia fantasy romance, and like, ooh, and it's like underwater, got an underwater setting somehow.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
We need to hear more about this.
Yes.
That sounds really cool.
I haven't heard of anyone who's actually read it yet, and I was at a bookstore staring at it like, do I need to buy this?
It's very pretty. I have it on hold from the library. It's one of my Libby holds I keep pushing down the road because I'm trying to prioritize Hugo reading right now.
Glenn read the Gail Carriger Space Pop Star series. What's that series called?
The Tinkered Star Song series.
Tinkered Star Song series, yes. Yeah, I think it probably does begin with a bang and then maybe not quite as good at the end, but I'm glad it was enjoyable. Oh, and Joe finished The House in the Cerulean Sea. I'm just looking at your facial expression.
Look, if I wrote a novel that was partially inspired by the 60s scoop, but it wasn't a blanket condemnation of the government that did it, but instead being like, oh, it's okay, these kids are taken away from their parents as long as they have loving gardens, I would not be admitting that in a blog post on Scalzi's blog. Like,
wow, really?
Oh yeah,
yeah. That was a thing.
Yeah, like there is a reason why like a number of folks are like not pleased with TJ Klune, is because like he did that, and then when they announced the sequel, when Tor announced the sequel, they're like, oh, we're doing orange sprayed edges. And so for folks who might not be aware of it, in Canada, orange is the color used to honor the children who were killed in these residential schools.
Oh.
Yeah, like, again, I don't know if Tor knew that, but like immediately people were pointing it out. And it's just
basically like, in the context of the first book being based on what it was, this is kind of like a really toneless way to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I've also heard that one of his earlier series has like some like significant anti-Roma sentiment in there. Like, it's very, from what I get, he's very much like peak white gay, and I mean that in kind of a derogatory manner.
I enjoyed The House in the Cerulean Sea, but I never managed to pick up anything else by him. So.
Oh, also his YA book is like full-on propaganda. That was another thing that that was talked about, because I think it came out in 2020 around the George Floyd protests, and like the main character's dad is a cop who's like on suspension for beating someone up, and it's portrayed very sympathetically. Anyway,
well,
Like, when I say white gay, like he's very white cis gay, I meant that derogatorily.
So what have you been reading, Di?
I've been reading a number of things. So I think since we last talked, I read The Bear and the Nightingale, which for the most part I enjoyed, but I have some significant reservations on how Catherine Arden handled Vasya's stepmom, and it kind of undermined the claim that this is feminist fantasy because it did not read that. And it reminded me in a way of what Silvia Moreno Garcia was doing in The Beautiful Ones between Nina and her cousin's wife, Valerie, and how they were like foils and antagonists and how that was done. And I think Catherine Arden was trying to do something similar, but didn't have, like, this was her debut and she didn't necessarily have the reign. Like, she wasn't able to do it well. Let's see. I read Redemptor by Jordana Fueco, and I liked it. I didn't like it as much as Ray Bear, but it was still a really good conclusion to the duology, and I'm looking forward to her new YA book that's coming out this August. I read, so I'm trying to do more Hugo stuff, but the last non-Hugos thing I want to talk about is There's Always This Year on Basketball and Ascension by Hanif Abdurraqib. So I started reading his stuff last year, and he's just become one of my favorite nonfiction authors. He's a poet, but he also does a lot of essay collections. And so he's written a book about music called They Can't Kill Us Until They Kill Us. He's written Little Devil in America, Notes in Praise of Black Performance, which is also excellent. And then this book, it's yes about basketball, but it's also talking about his life, people he knows, and essentially like being from Ohio, and like also like being a sports fan, like having, you know, even when your team sucks, like always hoping that, okay, you know, maybe next year, or, you know, maybe this year they'll finally do it. They'll finally, you know, win the championship and be good. And it's a really good book. I listened to the audiobook and he narrates, and I really enjoyed it. I know I'm the token sports fan of this little group, but I would recommend it even if you're not a sports fan. And then, I also read the new Niveau novella, which I liked it. It's not my favorite, but it's like very gothic.
I have it on hold. I can't wait.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. Like, I would say, like, it's not my favorite because I think Mammoths at the Gate and Empress of Salt and Fortune set such a high bar for this series for me, but I still, like, it's a solid 4 stars.
Wait, this is the new one in the series.
Yeah.
Are we that far in the year already that it has come out?
Mm-hmm.
Oh no, I'm behind.
And then in terms of Hugo reading, so I read Rose House, which it was fine. Like, I would say like 3.5 stars. The ending was a little confusing for me, but I haven't read her other books, so I don't really have anything to base it off of, but I kind of like the mystery and the atmosphericness. So that was good. I still think Mammoths at the Gate is going to be my #1 vote for the Hugos. And then I need to sit down and read the 2 translated works, and then I'll be all caught up on the novella category. And then for astounding / best editor long form, I read The Death I Gave Him by MX Liu. So this is their like sci-fi Hamlet retelling. And it started off strong, but I think what Liu was trying to do with it in terms of how they structured the book, I don't know if they did it well enough for me, and I didn't really enjoy the ending. That, like, I think it started off really strong, but the ending kind of lost me. So it was about a 3 stars. Like, folks might like it more than I did. And then I started listening to Witch King yesterday while I was doing some cleaning and knitting.
And how are you liking it?
I'm liking it. like I think because I had seen some reviews basically saying like Martha Wells just straight up throws you in and doesn't give you a lot of like setting or explanation. So I think knowing that helps set my expectations for like what I would get right away, so I could kind of enjoy the unraveling of who Kai is and like how he got there at the start. Like I didn't go in expecting Murderbot, which I think helped.
I just finished a little repair and I am really actually very, very pleased with how this turned out.
Nice.
I was not sure it would turn out that good.
If you want to be double sure, you can always like coat it with a little bit of freight check.
Yeah.
Coat it with a little bit of what?
Freight check. It's like basically textile glue.
Ah, yeah. I don't have any, but I could buy some. But also, like, this is a special event dress, so it's not something that I wear like on the regular. So like, it needs to get through an event.
Oh, and then the other thing I started reading, which I need to finish because my library loan is going to be due soon, is The Siege of Burning Grass by Premi Muhammad. This is her new novel release.
I don't think I've heard of that one.
It's the first line is like really drew me in, but the problem was I started reading it while I was on vacation, and then I was just like, I don't want to read things with my eyes. So I just kind of paused it. So yeah, so that's what I've like some of what I've been reading. There's been some other stuff that I just don't feel like talking about right now.
What have I read since our last live show? Not a ton, unfortunately.
But you started Full Metal Alchemist.
I did.
Yes.
I did. So that's the most. I finished that last night. I got the edition that's like the first 3 volumes of the series. So I read it in one day.
Yes, as you should. As you should. It's so good.
You'll be happy to know I have the next 2 omnibuses on hold. I should be able to pick them up on Tuesday. So be reading another 6 volumes of Full Metal Alchemist.
And then after you are finished with the manga, you can watch the Brotherhood anime.
Yes.
And enjoy it because it has the like great voice acting, great soundtrack. Like it is the cinematography in that series is very good, especially if you have enjoyed the manga. It is so good.
All the opening and closings of Brotherhood slap.
Especially like I love Period the most, and also
Let it all out.
Let it all out is great. Like I still have like on my Spotify playlist, I have pretty much all of the Full Metal Alchemist stuff. I will say, if you ever watch the Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood series, skip the first episode. You don't need the first episode. The first episode actually undermines the whole rest of the series. It's completely pointless.
I don't remember the first.
Does it cover?
The first episode basically gives away the major plot point of the series that the series will eventually tell you anyway. Because it brings in a character that does not exist in the manga to kind of like lampshade a few of the like major plot points that you're gonna figure out eventually anyway. So if you're gonna end up watching the anime, you don't need to see the first episode.
Okay. So yeah, I'll say I like the characters. I like the storyline and the world building so far. I am not a fan of the artwork. It's like that era of or style of manga art. I just look at all the characters and go, why the heck is your hair so spiky?
I think that's mostly like it's not even the era. It's Hiromu Arakawa has like she has a very distinct style of drawing. The drawing style does get a little different as she kind of grows into the characters.
And I think the characters age at some point too, right? Like
at some like in the first volumes you're kind of like in the flashback sequences a bit. because you find out about the backstory. But the oldest the main characters get, I think, is around 16 or 17 years of age.
Oh, okay. So they start out at like 14 and 15. So
Yeah.
Huh. Although I just can't see them as being those ages. So, so yeah, I've started Full Metal Alchemist. I said that I would read some of it before this live show, and I did, and everybody was right. It's good.
Yes.
And
just you wait until you see all the cool like characters it has.
My other comment is the names. Excuse me, why is his name Roy Mustang?
Why not?
Exactly my reaction.
Why not? Why would his name not be Roy Mustang?
So Mustang, where I live, is it has a meaning like in the community I live in. So it's kind of like I don't know. He sounds like a knockoff baseball player. Also,
I would not put a lot of I would not put a lot of I think with Arakawa there's a sort of like rule of cool with the naming.
Yes.
There isn't really like much significance other than they're all of the names are like Western.
Yeah.
In the Amestris name specifically. Then later you'll get introduced to like other people from outside Amestris.
Yeah. I will say. It's
actually. Sorry.
Roy Reija supremacy forever.
Yes.
King Lionheart ship. Oh, so good.
He wants to be president so that he can. I don't know. What did he say in like the second volume? He wants to be president so that he can have women wear short skirts to work.
I love Roy and Reija.
Their relationship is the best.
Okay.
Another thing is that Roy is kind of, because he's, well, let's not go, like, Roy's backstory is like implied in visuals, like whenever you when in later volumes you encounter people outside of Amestris, you kind of start to figure out like Roy a little bit more in context of like how he's drawn and how the other characters are drawn as well. So like basically the ethnicity of the characters is very heavily implied by the way they're drawn as well. Mm-hmm. So his backstory is never like explicitly said, but you can see it in the visuals. Like let's say certain parts of his backstory.
Well, I look forward to it. I also caught up on the English releases of Sign of Affection. I read volumes 6 and 7, and I continue to think it's a very sweet series. Yes. I also think that the main female character still needs a bit more
work.
Her boyfriend should stop just making all the decisions. So I like him, but their relationship is not balanced in any way.
Unfortunately, I have to say that this is a problem in a lot of shoujo and josei manga.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah. The fact that they even like communicate slightly well about their relationship and their boundaries and stuff is revolutionary, I feel like.
Yeah.
And then I did a little bit of reading for the Hugo Awards. I did read Beowulf by Zach Wiener-Smith. I forget who does the art or who does the writing. Which is it's a nominee in the graphic story category, and wasn't expecting that. I don't know if any of you guys have finished reading it yet.
No,
I have it on my pile to read.
I have it
next.
on hold from the library.
It looks very cute, though.
It is
look
very
at this.
cute. It is literally like the adventures of the neighborhood kids against their evil neighbor, but told exactly in the style and the wording of Beowulf. So I haven't found it to like, it hasn't been super memorable, but I quite enjoy the experience of it. It was just such a zany thing to do. Like, yeah.
How does it compare to Beowulf?
I think I enjoyed Beowulf more. That one has stuck with me. I think it's also that Beowulf is about children. It's definitely like, if it wasn't so linguistically complex because of just how it's trying to match the high voice of Beowulf, I would say it's an adult book, not middle grade, but it is about children being children, and yeah.
Okay. Now I know what to expect when I start reading it eventually.
I read the first few pages and was just like a little bit turned off by the whole style of it, and now I'm just worried that I'm not gonna like it.
You may not. I kind of went into it just when I realized how it was going to adhere to the voice and like the phrasing, that it was just going to be this experiment in, could somebody else try to use that style to tell a story that is completely mismatched with what we would expect from the voice. So, and the artwork is okay. Not my favorite either, but I think it definitely it works with the text. So. I also read the other Wiener Smith book on the short list, which is A City on Mars, which is by the couple. And it took me a while to get through that because I was listening into it on audiobook whenever I had a chance. I actually really liked this book. It's a nonfiction dive into how realistic is it that humans could ever live in space, and whether we have set the groundwork for being able to achieve that yet, and a lot about space law as well, and just how things could get complicated. It's very much in the vein of, we two authors are super space nerds and we really, really, really want there to be a colony on Mars, but we unfortunately have to conclude that that does not seem possible. So I liked it quite a bit. It delved into some areas of space exploration and just living in space that I've never heard discussed before, even in other kind of humorous nonfiction books on the topic. Especially because they devote a lot of time in it to space law, which even they're like, there's a reason why people don't talk about this very much. People like to ignore the fact that any of this exists. Or they write like a 500-page dry academic work on it that nobody wants to read. So
yeah, like let's not let actual science stand in the way of a good time.
Yeah. Ron, it's called A City on Mars. It's in the best related work category for the Hugo Awards this year. My only caveat about this book, and I'm new to the Wiener Smiths. I don't, other than Beowulf, which is illustrated by Zach, he's the illustrator. I have not read anything else by them. I'm getting the feeling that everything is meant to be humorous. There's a lot of funny phrasing and stuff in the book, and I think that sometimes that tone undermines the seriousness of some of the things they're talking about. It is entertaining. I think especially listening to it on audiobook, it was really easy for me to kind of dip into and come out of. But I think if I had been reading it in print, I would have started to get a bit annoyed with, you're turning everything into a pun, or, you know.
Can I ask a question that you may not know the answer to because you listened to it on audio, but is it illustrated in print?
I don't think so. If it has like a photograph insert or something in it, I don't recall.
So like the artist who's the co-author on it isn't like the artist.
He is actually the co-author. Yeah, he's not just an illustrator on it. Yeah. So both of them wrote it, and the audiobook is actually done really well. There's a main narrator, and then the authors themselves come in and narrate these kind of like note sections throughout the book, which are kind of these like the side stories of stuff that they cut or funny things they found out about. So you get to hear both of the authors speak too. So I like that presentation style. It kept it interesting.
Interesting.
So, but I would say it's definitely a must read for anybody who has really been into the colonization of space or the colonization of Mars in like SFF, because it's a completely different perspective on how and when that would become possible from, I think, what we're often presented in like the really famous Mars colonization narratives like Red Mars, for example. So it's very interesting. I can see why it was nominated in this category for this award. It is a nonfiction work that would really appeal to a lot of SF fans who are big into this.
So funny. I was talking to my dad, who is like massively into like online space exploration forums and stuff. Like that's his internet community hobby.
Mm-hmm.
And his impression of this book, which he had heard of from those people, but hasn't read, is that it was like very poorly received. Everyone is so mad that they're poo-pooing the idea of the feasibility of city on Mars. That's what we spend our entire online lives doing, is trying to convince people that we can colonize.
And the Wienersmiths are like, how you gonna do that if you can't get anybody to fund research into pregnant women in space? You
Right.
can't really,
or women's health in general.
Women's health in general, yes, but like there are so many things that are like really necessary. I mean, like sex is a big topic in the book because it's something that's actually really incredibly important to human life, like physically recreating, but also socially, and so many decisions have to be made about that. But the science exploration agencies won't touch it. There's no data, and anything that you do hear about is anecdotal. It's not official. So yes, Glenn. Yes.
I just put the audiobook on hold, so.
I will also say that, like, on a darker topic, I don't think there's going to be like. I think probably in the near future we're actually going to get back, going to take steps back in terms of getting funding for women's reproductive health research and like research in that regard in general, not just for women, but for the whole gender spectrum in general.
Mm-hmm.
Because of all the legal stuff that has been going on, like for example with the IVF treatment bans and all of that kind of stuff that's happening recently. It's like not great. Anyway.
So says, I have a friend who works at the Jet Propulsion Laboratory, and she says the only reason to send people to Mars is if you want to kill them.
Fair point.
Repeatedly in this book, the Wienersmiths say, have we mentioned yet that space is terrible?
This sounds like it'll be an interesting counterpoint to the book by Susan Casey about exploring the deep ocean and just like the dangers involved and just how much work it is to like get down here.
Yeah. I think a lot of people are familiar with Mary Roach's Packing for Mars, which is it's actually mentioned in A City on Mars as well. But that book, I think it's also a very humorous nonfiction book. You know, Roach's style is approaching a lot of pretty serious topics with
Yeah.
jokes. And
Incidentally, one of my favorite Roach books is Stiff.
yeah, mine is probably maybe Gulp. Maybe. Anyway, so yeah, Mary Roach asks the awkward questions and is often met with the "we don't usually want to talk about that." But her book on humans living in space and what it's really like is, in my memory at least, almost like rose tinted glasses. Like she presents it as something that like people would actually put up with.
Where did my cat go? She was sleeping. I feel like I need to summon her with the churu.
We haven't had a lot of cats this time.
I need to.
Luke is back after I moved him.
Hermes is sleeping. For context, my apartment has like 27 degrees Celsius is the temperature in here, which is not great. So I think it's in the low 80s in Fahrenheit.
I am going to attempt. I don't think she's even. Oh, she's over there. I see. I can summon her. Close up the sewing things. So it doesn't.
Have you been reading anything else, Rachel?
I have read other things, but those are the memorable stuff that.
Summoned. It is so easy to summon her. Look at this.
Yeah. Oh wow. She knows what's coming. Interestingly, speaking of Mars colonization stories, I have just started reading The Mars House by Natasha Pulley, which, hey, guess what? It's about this dude who escapes London when Britain's being flooded by climate change, and he's an ex-ballet dancer, and he chooses to use his refugee status to go to Mars because they're always looking for people to come to their settlement. And it's all about how crap it is to live on Mars when you don't have the same rights as all the people with full citizenship. So like your air mixture is different. Maybe you don't get as much oxygen, and you don't get to work in the same places. And it's like the whole company town politics line from A City on Mars, you know, that whole topic. So I think I'm going to really like The Mars House. Like I said, I've just started it, but it's given me good vibes. And it's something about the feel of it is reminding me of China Mountain Jang by Maureen McHugh. Maybe because of the character and the setting or something, but I'll take it. I think it's going to be good.
Sounds like you are reading in a like a very thematic sense.
Completely accidentally. But yeah, that's pretty much it for me right now. I have started a million other things, but don't have thoughts on most things. So.
I guess then it's Kelsey's turn.
Yes, but I'm feeding a catty food. So I will talk about what I'm reading when I'm done with the magical cat summoning experience.
We're just having a cat break.
Cat break. Okay, hold on. Let go. I need to squeeze the boot. I need my hands for this. I need my hands. Cat break. Cat break. Can I move it over here so that you'll see her? There we go.
I mean, I have been seeing her the entire time.
Can see her better now.
She is very intent.
Yeah.
Hermes has been melted into a little puddle of cat fur on the armchair, and I don't want to disturb His Highness.
That's all. It's done.
Leia's playing the book throne, so she can supervise but not have to be on camera.
You ate it all. Good for you. It's all gone. There's no more. It's all gone. There's no more. Sorry, my life. There's okay. There's no more. No more. It's all gone. Yeah. I know. Did you hear her? She tried. Yep. Did you hear that? Or was that too quiet? As she left, she was like, ooh. Okay, so I had a very disappointing string of 3-star books after our last live stream. Let me see. So this month, my 3-star books were on Goodreads in chronological order: Dragon Fruit, which I was reading last time, The Fifth Gender, The Left-Handed Booksellers of London, and Wonder Woman Historia: The Amazons. All 3 stars. Does anyone want me to go into any detail about any of those particular books?
What is Wonder Woman Amazonia
It's
about?
the Hugo nominated book.
Yeah, I know. It's on my Hoopla list to get to eventually, but I don't know anything about it.
It is an
This one.
absolutely, yes, that one. Absolutely mediocre Greek mythology retelling with stunning art and hey, Wonder Woman at the end.
At the end.
So it's part of DC's Black Label, which is like kind of non-canonical stuff, but that can go darker, more adult.
It is just like a mediocre Greek mythology retelling, though. Like, that's what it is.
So pretty artwork.
To it, I like Kelly Sue DeConnick's writing, and I do like all the artists that were brought in, and it's something that I've been meaning to read since it came out. So I'm holding judgment because, like, I think what Kelly Sue DeConnick is going to be doing with the Wonder Woman stuff will be interesting.
I have to say, I've never gotten on well with anything I've read by Kelly Sue DeConnick. I know. Oh, what was the?
Don't eat the hat.
Pretty Deadly or something like that?
Yeah, that one, I liked Volume 1 more than Volume 2.
I never even continued to Volume 2. I was so confused by it. Although also I read that at a time when I had really never read any comics like that before, so I did not know how to read it. I think I also read like 2 volumes of Bitch Planet and also did not get along with it super well, so.
I wonder if it's like mediocre in terms of like if you're just in it for the Greek retelling, then
yes,
is it mediocre because of that, or is it mediocre because of the DC character element?
No,
or
I
wonder
element doesn't come in at all until the end when suddenly Wonder Woman is born. But
I mean, like, from what I remember when the book was being pitched, it's like this is the history that Wonder Woman would have been taught. So it's very much tied. It's not like Greek retelling for the sake of Greek retelling. It's Greek retelling in the context of how the Olympians are in the DC universe.
Anyways, it reads to me like a very middle of the road feminist Greek mythology retelling in a market that is absolutely saturated right now with feminist Greek mythology retellings, right? Anyways, that's how it read to me. We'll be interested to see if any of your opinions differ. The art is gorgeous in all 3 artists' chapters. Like, if read it for the art. I did have a bit of a gripe with, like, how some of the characters were portrayed very differently in the different volumes. Like, in the first volume, Hippolyta is absolutely depicted as a woman of color, and then in the second volume, she suddenly looks white.
That's...
that.
And she's supposed to be the same character. Like, this is supposed to be the same character design, and I found it very jarring. Wait, I can get the book and I can show you. And I think there is some of this that's absolutely on purpose because the gods change their physical appearance all the time. So like the way the different artists interpret the character designs of the gods, like there's a reason for that to differ. Yes, miss. But hold on. This is just like the final page of the first volume and then like the cover art of the second volume. Like this is the same woman in the two different art styles. And I did not enjoy this like character redesign. And then in the third volume, she looks like somewhere halfway between the two. It was very odd to me, but all three art styles I thought worked very well. There's some very dynamic depictions of the gods. But yeah, that's how I felt about it.
I'm hoping to get to it soon. I might actually read it first out of all the comics that I have, because it especially now that I'm like with the recent Greek mythology boom, I'm very like hyper focused on all of the Greek myths right now.
Hades?
Yes.
Well, with that, do we want to talk media?
Wait, because I have not gotten to the book that I just read and the book that I'm currently reading that are breaking the unfortunate 3-star spree. I finished When the Tiger Came Down the Mountain last night.
Good.
So 4 stars. So now I'm all clear to read Mammoths at the Gates. I'm all caught up because I read the first one and then the third one. And then I had to go back and read the second one. So now I'm ready to catch up for Hugo reading. And then I am now reading Provenance, which the first few chapters have been utterly delightful. Like, this is the most incredible setup. And I hope the rest of the book delivers on this premise because, oh my God. That's it.
Okay.
What is going on?
Who wants to start us up on media? I don't really have anything to contribute to media this time, so
I can start on media.
I'm going to disappear for a little.
Yeah, so I have been watching a couple of things. So I finished Bad Batch Season 3. The finale premiered on May 1st, and I thought it was a good wrap-up. There were some loose hanging threads from Season 3 where I'm wondering if there's another animated show in the pipeline that they just haven't announced yet. Like, I don't know if they're waiting to announce until it's a little further. Like, I don't know if they're going to announce it this year. I don't know if they're going to wait to announce it next year at Star Wars Celebration Japan. But I liked it. I thought it was a good end to some of the Clone Wars stuff. I also watched Star Wars Tales of the Empire. So it's like this new mini. So they did Tales of the Jedi a couple of years ago, and Tales of the Empire is like 6 episodes, short episodes, following 2 different characters. So I only watched half of it so the first half is Morgan Elsbeth, who you meet in The Mandalorian and who's a main character in Ahsoka. And I wasn't like super interested in that. But the second half is following Barriss Offee, who is a character you meet in the Clone Wars, and her plot line has just been hanging since the Clone Wars originally ended in 2020 or in 2013. And fans have just been like, okay, but what happened to her? What happened to her? Dave, do we need to kidnap your hat so you'll tell us what happened to her? And we finally got answers, and I thought it was like, for the format, like I really enjoyed what we got because we see someone who starts at her lowest and like finds her own peace and redemption. And yeah, I agree, Glenn. The bear story was really satisfying. So I really liked that. And then I've been rewatching the Clone Wars, and it's very interesting having come from Bad Batch season 3 to going back to season 1 of the Clone Wars, because the animation is really rough. Like it very much feels like animation that debuted in computer animation that debuted in 2008 on a cartoon, like even with George Lucas funding it, on a Cartoon Network budget.
Yeah.
And then in terms of like non-Star Wars things, I've been continuing to watch Dropout. So I've been watching more Game Changer. I started watching some Dirty Laundry. I'm really enjoying their new series, Smarty Pants, which is basically a comedic version of PowerPoint parties. So it's every other week, and each episode is 3 people doing presentations on things. So like one episode, you had Jess Ross talk about how wrestling is drag, and it was fantastic. A recent episode had how to write emails like a white lady so you can get results, which is also like very informative in terms of how to get what you want over email. And then there was another really funny one that was like how vegetables aren't real, and it kind of goes into like the Dole Company shenanigans and how they're terrible. Yeah, but it's a lot of fun. Like some of the presentations are better than others, but yeah, it's good.
Okay.
I really recommend subscribing to Dropout. Like it's not that expensive, and they have so much content.
Is Dropout the successor to something that I would know?
It used to be College Humor.
Okay. Oh, okay. That makes more sense now.
Oh,
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah, so
Oh, I get it.
And also the guy who owns Dropout, Sam Reich, his dad is Bill Clinton's former labor secretary. So
That's
if you're
random.
on Twitter and you see like this old white, like Robert Reich, like doing liberal economic talking points, that's Sam Reich's dad.
I just remember that I do actually have something to talk about in media. If you don't mind me hopping in really quickly.
Yeah, no, that's it. Like basically the only other thing I've been doing is replaying Jedi Fallen Order and Jedi Survivor for Hugo related purposes, and the foreshadow, like knowing where Jedi Survivor ends. Like there are certain things that just I'm like, I see what you did there.
So I knew that I wanted to try watching Star Trek Strange New Worlds because 2 episodes from season 2 are Hugo nominees. And it just happened to be that my library actually had both seasons on DVD. Shocking. They also have all 4 seasons of Star Trek Discovery or whatever. So I'll be trying to get back into that as well. But anyway, my parents and I managed to binge all 2 seasons in about a month. It's been very enjoyable. I have also enjoyed watching my dad's reactions to episodes like those Old Scientists, which has the cartoon crossover with Below Decks or something.
Yeah.
Which I thought was a very entertaining concept. I thought it was very experimental. They did some more experimental stuff this season too. My dad, not such a fan of cartoons, however, but yeah. So yeah, I have been watching that. I'm kind of sad that season 3 hasn't started yet, because if you've seen the end of season 2, I literally screamed at the television, and my mom did too. And I think Erica Ortegas is my favorite character. I need her to be in more episodes. I need her to go on more away missions that don't involve, well, people dying or whatever. So that's my media contribution.
I can go next. On the anime side, I have started watching Kaiju number 8. which is really good. So it's basically about this 30-something guy who like basically in this world kaiju attacks are kind of normal. They're part of everyday life. The society has kind of like just accepted that these attacks are coming, so they've basically created infrastructure to help with dealing with these rampant monster attacks. So you have this like basically kaiju defense force which takes care of like neutralizing the kaiju and works together with like the actual military. And then you have kind of the cleanup crew who takes care of like cleaning up after the devastation of basically they're dismantling the kaiju corpses and like cleaning after these
You
attacks.
said that, and my brain immediately went to kaiju insurance. Do they have that?
Not like I would assume, but it has not been mentioned in the context of the series yet. But the main character essentially works at this cleaning crew, like that's his job. He has tried to get in to the kaiju defense force to become one of these neutralizing officers, but he has always like basically flunked the exam, so he hasn't been able to go there. And his childhood friend is like the captain of the corps. Like he basically wants to like get in there and like, because they made a promise together as children that they're gonna join this force together and fight kaiju, and he never made it, and she's basically become the captain of the entire corps. And it's like the billboard model that they use for like recruitment. Like she's like the best of the best. And then basically the premise of the series is that during one of the cleanup routines after a kaiju attack, he gets attacked by a kaiju and gets hospitalized, and then later is actually infected with like a kaiju like spore, like parasite, and he turns into a kaiju, but he retains all of his like humanity and human faculties, but he can basically transform into a kaiju and get like kaiju powers while maintaining his humanity. And then now he has to keep it secret because so that he doesn't get neutralized as a kaiju threat, but he also wants to like help out, so he tries to join the defense force again. And it's really good. It's like I haven't read the manga. I kind of want to try the manga again. But the anime is really nice. And it's been like, is it 5 or 6 episodes now, or is it 8 even? Anyway, the anime is like really good. I've been really enjoying it. It's like the highlight of my week. Every Saturday when an episode comes out, I'm like, okay, now I need to stop everything I'm doing. I'm gonna watch Kaiju number 8. And then obviously Delicious in Dungeon, still ongoing. My favorite character made his debut in the latest episode, which is Captain Mithrin.
20 or something now?
About there, yeah.
Okay, I think I just watched episode 14, so I need to catch up.
Yeah, basically, new characters have been introduced just in this latest episode, and things are things are heating up. Tensions are gonna rise. It's gonna be
every
time
be great. I watched an episode, I keep thinking, is the new character in this episode the one that Reija was looking forward to?
You will know immediately when you watch the episode where he appears, and you will know immediately, this is the character that Reija likes.
Okay.
Also, in this new episode, there was basically Senshi laying on the bed without his helmet in a full, like, draw me like one of your French girls pose, like just randomly talking to
I
his face. Like,
over the
watch, but like from what I've seen, I deeply love the animator's commitment to sexy Senshi.
Yeah, like Senshi's panty shots are basically it's like when people talk about like Dungeon Meshi, and they're basically like, it's so great that it doesn't over sexualize any characters, and then people are like, I don't know about you, but I came here for the Senshi panty shots, and they keep delivering every episode. Except in this one.
If they're like, I think they're keeping it in the spirit of the manga bisexual.
Yeah, in the manga, Ryoko Kui really like every time there can be a panty shot of Senshi, there is.
Yeah, they're
every single time.
It's they're channeling the source material. And
Yeah,
I
this is a very good, faithful adaptation.
Wait, so
Faithful.
there's still lots of panty shots of Senshi in the manga.
Oh yes. Oh yes.
Someone's into dwarves.
Well, you know,
I
mean, he's my favorite character.
Ryokokui has a type.
He's my favorite character in the whole thing so far, but I would like to not be so aware of his crotch, okay?
one day BioWare will give us a dwarf love interest. I am praying that we get a dwarf love interest in Dreadwolf.
Speaking of Senshi, I've been playing Hades 2, which just came out in early access like a couple of weeks ago. And the way they have designed Hephaestus in the game, he looks like Senshi does in the in Delicious in Dungeon a little bit. Like, and he speaks in a Scottish accent.
Oh.
So Hephaestus is basically burly bear of a man in a wheelchair, just like propped with his like hammer, and he speaks in a Scottish accent, and everyone went nuts over him when his design was really.
Name end up with a Scottish accent.
It's because he's a blacksmith.
Okay.
I mean, I think Hestia also got a little bit of like a northern British accent. But yeah, it's like Hades 2 has been excellent so far. I still have not managed to kill Grandpa, not even once. I have managed to get into the same room with him, and then he wipes the floor with me. I usually get him like because like it's usually like I get to like I beat his first form, but then because it's Hades, the final boss has to have like a secondary form, so his health bar goes all the way back up. He teleports you into a new place, and then you continue fighting, and that's usually where all my death defiances and all my healing spells are done, and I'm like, okay, I guess I'm gonna die. So yeah, I'm still interested to know like who's gonna be Melinoe's love interests, because like I think Eris is gonna be one.
Ares or Eris?
Eris.
Okay, I was like
Eris.
Yeah, I couldn't tell. I was like, him?
No, Eris, as in Strife incarnate. I think she's gonna be probably one of the love interests. At least the way the writing is kind of taunting Melinoe and Eris as this kind of opposites attract kind of stuff.
Okay, that's fine.
And I'm not sure who the other one is. I was hoping tomorrow the Doom incarnate to be the other one, but I don't think they're gonna do a menage a trois between Melinoe and Eris and Moros, because Moros and Eris are siblings. So I don't think they're gonna make you romance siblings, because they carefully avoided that in the first game. But let's see, people have been saying that Icarus might be the other, like the male love interest. But I hope, like, so far, I've seen him a couple of times and he's just boring. So he doesn't have the same energy as Thanatos in the first game, where whenever I saw Thanatos or Megara, I'm like, yeah, I could hit it. Yeah, thank you. Thanks, both please. Yes, both is good. In this one, I'm like, yeah, I'm not really vibing Eris, and I'm not really vibing Icarus either. I'm like, can I just get like Nemesis and Moros, please? Because like, or Heracles even. I could go for Heracles. The design for Heracles is like amazing. Like when he was introduced, my jaw just dropped, and I just like looked at him like this. And whoever they've gotten to voice act him, give that man a raise. Because he puts the G in growl.
Ooh.
But yeah, I basically now have, I think, 40 hours in Hades 2 in the span of 2 weeks, which is pretty decent considering I also have a full-time job.
I think you come home from work, you eat, and then you just play games.
Yeah, it was funny because Joe basically, like, he sent me a message basically like, oh, I see that you come straight home from work and you're already playing Hades. Oh, thank you, Joe. Only 40.
Well, just in case there is no Baldur's Gate talk on this live show, we do need to mention that I found out when I was in the Carolinas 2 weeks ago that my brother and my sister-in-law are also big fans of Baldur's Gate, and they have a Carlac approves sticker on their car.
Nice.
I was like, hey, I know who that is.
As long as it's not Gale approved, then I approve.
Oh no. My sister-in-law was like, Gale.
Yes.
You know what might be fun? Like, I might romance Gale in like my worst choices.
I'm
would you
currently
do yourself?
I currently have the I started the all the bad choices playthrough, and I am kind of going to probably romance Gale.
No.
But most likely in the way that I'm gonna romance him and then dump him. Who knows? Who knows? I just like, because Gale is so fun when you end up spending the night with him and then you talk about it with him later, and he gets so defensive if you question his manliness or his prowess in bed, and he gets like, I don't know what you're talking about. I am in fact excellent. How could you ever imply that I am nothing less than the perfect lover?
You were there and you noticed something.
But yes, like Gale's humiliation is one of my favorite things.
Yeah, I think so. I started a Carlac run, and I think I'm gonna romance Minthara with her. I want to romance Dom Mommy Drow. But Minthara like has a special hatred in her heart for Gale, like,
Yes.
because I guess in Drow society, so like Dark Elf society, it's matriarchal, so sons aren't like as useful. So like the first son is for marriage, the second son is for priesthood, and then the third son is just like, well, might as well kill him. And she tells Gale, you have the aura of a third son about you.
Yeah. Yeah, third sons are for sacrificial purposes, basically, usually. They're
Yeah.
expendable.
Oh my god.
But yeah, she has such hatred. She has such disdain for Gale, and it's so funny.
I will say, though, the best thing about Gale is that he's a cat dad, and his cat is excellent.
I do love Tara.
Tara is the best.
Is his
Gale
an actual character in this game too?
Yes. He has a winged cat, and you can have conversations with her, and she's great.
Can you romance the cat?
No.
Okay.
But you get more interactions with the cat if you romance Gale, because then the cat will comment on your relationship. So it's more like you don't actually like honestly, part of the reason I kind of want to romance Gale is more to the like the approval of Tara rather than anything else. Like, I just want Tara to like me.
Who cares what the guy thinks?
Yeah, who cares about Gale?
The cat to like you.
Yeah, exactly. And the cat seems to, for some weird reason, like Gale. So you know,
No,
taking one for the team, I guess.
This is actually reminding me that I need to actually finish up my current Dragon Age run soon, so I can start my romance all the apostates run and prep for Dreadwolf.
Before we move to other things, or like Kelsey wants to talk about the fairy series, I will have to say that in Hades 2, Odysseus is an absolute fuckboy, and I love him.
That's like though. Odysseus is a fuckboy.
Exactly. He is like the I love that, like he is like the worst, but in the best possible way. And I love that basically they're referring to like Penelope waiting for him, and then like all of these other like, you know, like even especially now that I'm listening to like Epic the Musical, and Epic the Musical definitely has a very romanticized view of like Odysseus and like the relationship between Odysseus and Penelope. And Hades too is basically like, no, Odysseus was a cheating bastard, and when Penelope found out, she wasn't well pleased with that. So basically the whole game's premise is like Odysseus and Penelope are basically divorced in death.
Okay, but does that mean that we have a chance with Penelope?
I'm not sure, because like I do hope that Penelope or Telemachus makes an appearance in the game, because they said that they're gonna, like, when they're gonna patch the game, they're gonna bring in other characters, most like, because they're still writing parts of the story. And Penelope and Telemachus are both referenced, so I'm kind of hoping that we do get to see them at some point. But yeah, it would be so nice to meet them. So far, Odysseus is a major character, and a lot of the like bad guys or like the bosses that you fight are from the Odyssey. Like you fight Charybdis, the sea monster, and then you fight Scylla. So they have taken a lot of material. You also fight Polyphemus, so they've taken a lot of material from the Odyssey for this game.
So is Odysseus like the Achilles character then?
Oh yeah, Odysseus is basically this game, your mentor figure, kind of.
I forgot that I made myself tea before the stream. It got cold. I had to reheat my tea. I don't have a coaster.
You look like you wanted to say something, Kelsey.
Did want to say something. What did I want to say? I haven't talked about media yet.
It's because me and Di were talking about our stuff, so we hadn't finished yet.
I don't think I have anything particularly interesting to talk about. I'm supposed to be doing my rewatch of Joy of Life Season 1 now that Season 2 is finally airing after how many years? And I'm not getting anywhere with it because I don't have the attention span.
I was wondering myself whether I should even attempt to rewatch Season 1 or if I should just go into Season 2 cold and see how much comes back to me.
I'm becoming tempted because like I don't know if I have it in me to rewatch all of Season 1 right now. But if I start watching Season 2 and then I catch up, like being in the position of being like caught up with an airing drama is always so frustrating because you want to binge it if you're really invested. And like maybe it's better to use this as a procrastination tool to let more of Season 2 air before I start watching it.
The first season like 40 some odd episodes?
Yeah, this one's supposed to be, let me look it up. It's shorter because C-dramas are all shorter now than they used to be because I guess the government said so. This is supposed to be 36 episodes. So
that's still a lot.
Is it weekly or bi-weekly?
I have no idea what the actual, like, I guess, is it 10-cent show, what the 10-cent airing schedule is, but C-dramas release quickly. Like, they release a bunch of episodes per week, like sometimes multiple episodes per day. So it's relatively quick, but then Vicky has to subtitle it. So they're a bit behind.
I was just wondering how long it would take. Like, how many months?
Okay. How many episodes are on Vicky so far? Already 18 episodes.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, that's a fair bit.
Yeah, C-dramas air quickly and then Vicky just has to get someone to translate them.
I will say, I did watch Bridgerton, the latest season. Did anyone else watch that?
No, but what I did watch, instead of all of the things I thought I should be watching, is I rewatched the first season of Avatar: The Last Airbender out of absolutely nowhere for no reason.
The animated one.
Animated. I'm not watching the live action. I haven't watched it. I'm probably
Yeah,
not.
don't watch
But
the
I
live
was
action. They have.
Why am I watching this? What idea did I have that made this happen? I have no idea.
But it's great. The show is great.
It's great.
I feel very bad because like I had hopes for the live action Avatar: The Last Airbender. The cast looked decent. There was that drama behind that one. The actor who plays Sokka. We don't have to go into that. But looking at it and just like watching a few episodes, the changes they have made in order to rectify things in the show, in the original show, actually undermine a lot of the things that were commented on by the original show. Like, for example, they removed like Sokka's kind of sexist attitudes and stuff, and by doing that ended up making the show more sexist than the original show.
Also, like, that's his character development.
Exactly, that was his character arc, but in order to make it like they removed that part of his character arc and in turn made the show more sexist because of it.
Character, like the show isn't endorsing that behavior.
Yeah.
Isn't that just remove a whole bunch of plots?
Other thing I heard was they like completely got rid of Katara being angry, or like they really toned it down, and that just makes me sad because like Katara just having this kind of rage in her was really important to me.
Yeah, Katara, like, okay, for full disclosure, I've only watched like four episodes, so because I quit after 4 episodes. I was like, okay, this is kind of like making me sad watching this show because it's like it's removing very important things for the characters. I will say that I think that like the cast like looks great, but there's a lot of like writing choices that they made that just undermines a lot of the character writing that made the first show really good. And I wonder if this was one of the reasons why the original showrunners left the production team of the live action show. But anyway, not that the original, like, Avatar: The Last Airbender has a lot of problems, but like, anyway, but they Katara is very docile in the live action series and kind of almost meek.
Why would they do that to her?
I don't know, like it's basically like it kind of, for me at least, it feels like they thought that Katara's anger made her appear like nagging or something, which was also like the whole point of her character is to kind of like subvert the whole point of her character is that she has very justified reasons to be angry, and that she's also like bottling up her anger in order to be a kind of mother figure for her brother. That's how like whole point of her character, and the way that she will in the course of the series like learns to channel her anger in productive ways. And it's also like very important to show outlets for like women's anger, because you don't get to see that, like, and she's like in the context of the original show, she's rarely criticized for showing the anger. Like usually if she's criticized, she's criticized by Sokka, which is in tandem with his character arc of learning to overcome his internalized misogyny, like he's like sexist ideas. In any other show, like in any other show, she would have been like the show would have made efforts to criticize her for that behavior. And I think that was such an important part of her character, and she's just a more boring character in the live action show.
This just makes me sad.
Anyways, I started watching the good version.
Yeah,
no
don't
reason
watch the live
whatsoever,
action.
and then stopped at the end of season 1 and didn't continue for also no reason whatsoever. So I have no idea what I'm watching these days.
Oh, so speaking of Avatar, kind of tying into what I've been watching. So Dave Filoni, who worked on season 1 of Avatar, the animated one, so George Lucas like saw it and was like, oh, this is really good. I want one of the guys involved to work on my animated show. So Lucasfilm called, I don't know if it was George Lucas who called him or someone from Lucasfilm called Dave Filoni, and Dave like thought he was being pranked. He was like, wait, is this the SpongeBob guys? Are the SpongeBob guys pranking me?
Good times.
Anything else, Kelsey?
No, I don't think so.
Well, we're almost at 1. We talked a lot.
Wow. I did not think we would have, I guess our last live show was like towards.
It was in early April.
Yeah.
So it's been almost 2 months. So we had a lot to cover.
Yes.
I will also say that I could spend like 2 hours just talking about Hades, so I'm restraining myself. Oh, one thing that I will say, you can take characters on dates to hot springs in the second game.
Huh.
You can also take them on dates to a fishing pier and a bar. So the mechanics of how you build relationships with different characters are kind of like changed in this one.
And I kind of like that. I like that it's not just gifting them shit.
Yeah. Like you have to give them stuff. Like, for example, if you want to invite them to the hot springs, you have to give them like bath salts. And if you want to invite them to the bar, you have to give them ambrosia. And then for other purposes, you just give them nectar as usual. And then if you want to take them fishing, you give them fishing lures.
I am fishing for a cat. He's watching.
But like my favorite was I was trying to get Hecate to come to take a bath with me, and she rebuked me like 2 times, and I'm like, oh no, is this because she's like fully masked and she doesn't like? Am I not gonna get to take Hecate to a bath? And then finally she agreed, and then she has like a little like COVID mask. While she's taking a bath, like she's let her hair down and everything, but she still wears like a very fashionable mask while she's taking a bath with you.
Oh my goodness. Something about that jarred a memory of the dream I had last night. This was an epic dream. So I was on this like fantasy adventure quest in a fantasy world with a whole bunch of people. And in retrospect, none of it made any sense. However, we had to like retreat and regroup. So we had to like emergency portal back to our world to retreat and regroup. Except we got the calculations wrong and ended up time traveling ourselves back to the 60s.
What?
Oh, it's a third episode.
And didn't realize it for like a whole day until like we realized something was very badly wrong. And then like I had this horrible worry panic that someone in our party might have COVID and we might accidentally infect the 60s with COVID.
Oh.
And then I woke up. There were other things that happened. There was a whole thing involving a coffee shop, but
I would read like a book about like, you know, accidentally changing the timeline with a pandemic from the future, but like that would be awful. That would be horrific.
It would be awful, but I was like, no one in the 60s will understand if I insist everyone in our party walking around the streets of New York wears an N95 mask. Like that will look weird. How do we blend in but also protect these people from the COVID?
That kind of sounds like the setup of a Diana Wynne Jones novel. I mean, just with the whole you have to get home, but you know get the wrong address and you teleport to the wrong place thing like that.
I love Joe's comment that Kelsey's dream has a better plot than many programs I can think of.
Yep.
Oh boy.
And I don't know why my brain specifically latched on the 60s. but it was very specific on this point.
Hi,
The fashion in my dream was accurate.
Isn't there a scene in the left-handed booksellers of London? The main character's parents met somewhere in like 70s or 60s or
It
something.
was the 70s.
No, because she's 18 in the books, or like
Like
18, and the book is set in 1983.
Uh-huh.
So they have to have met in
yeah.
the 60s.
Yeah.
In the 60s.
Because they make a very major point about when she about her father wearing
Right.
flared 60s hippie pants.
Right.
Which
Also,
is always
about her mom just sort of not being there. Like, was she on drugs or something else happened to her?
Yeah, was she on acid?
I will say the other thing the 60s thing reminds me of is Animorphs, particularly the time travel special edition, because they prevent someone's birth by being in the right place at the right time in the 1960s. The whole thing.
Huh.
And it saves the timeline.
Okay.
Also, we were rehearsing a play, and I don't know what that had to do with anything. My dreams are a little weird sometimes.
Isn't that just dreams? I think
Yeah.
like I usually don't remember my dreams, but the dreams I do remember are really out of pocket.
Mm-hmm.
Do we have anything we're looking forward to in the next month?
Star Wars Acolyte premieres on June 4th, and I'm really looking forward to it. It's gotten really good reviews so far, and it looks amazing.
What is it again?
It's the new Star Wars live action series. It's set 100 years before the Phantom Menace, so it's basically like kind of like what happened to the Jedi, like how did they become so rigid and uncompromising by the time we meet them, and like talking about like the rise of the dark side. And the cast is stacked. Like Manny Jacinto is going to be in it. Trinity from The Matrix. I'm blanking on the actress's name. Amanda Stenberg is the lead. You have the lead from Squid Game is in it as well. And the cast looks amazing. What they've released so far looks so good. And
Carrie-Anne Moss.
Thank you. And they released a fight scene that's set at night, and one, the fight choreography looks great, but two, it's a night scene that is properly lit. It's a night scene where I could see everything. I was
What is this? Well lit scenes.
I know.
In this day and age.
In this economy.
Well, don't worry. House of the Dragon Season 2 is also coming out, so don't worry. There will still be badly lit night scenes for all of your viewing displeasure.
But yeah, I was so happy because like I could see everything that was going on in this nighttime fight scene.
Wow.
Honestly, that is not something that we should take for granted. Like it is getting bad out there.
That's why I was so excited.
I was just checking my Goodreads. I think I have 2 bookish pre-orders that should be arriving in June, and because I try to read pre-orders when I come, those will be 2 things that I will put aside Hugo reading for. And they are Running Close to the Wind by Alexandra Rowland and Rake's Fall by Vajra Chandrasekhara.
There's also the final book in Rebecca Rowan Horse's Between Earth and Sky.
Oh, yes, I have it pre-ordered.
Oh, yeah, that is coming out.
Which
we
means
should probably buddy read it,
yeah,
Rachel, because our whole shtick has been to buddy read all of these.
Yes, 3 for 3. Let's do it.
Reread book 1 so I can finally read book 2 and then read book 3 because here's the thing. I have a feeling it's going to be on the Hugos for best series.
If it is, then I will give that series another go, but I unfortunately did not like the first book enough to continue on my own.
I'm looking at what anime is coming out in the next couple of months, and unfortunately there's doesn't seem to be a lot in June, but in July there's gonna be the Isekai Suicide Squad anime series, which I'm sort of kind of looking forward to.
None of those words are in the Bible.
It's basically the Suicide Squad gets like pushed into an alternate dimension, and they basically have to save the day in an anime isekai world.
Those words are in the Bible. Trying to think, what else am I looking for? I think it's mostly I'm looking forward to The Acolyte, and that's kind of where I am right now. I'm not doing a good job of like keeping up to date with stuff.
Yeah, I can't think of.
Can I add that in this dream I am just now remembering more of it. The fantasy world where we were having a quest that we were trying to escape was basically the entire world was one like large skyscraper building with like lots of mysterious levels.
Have you read Wild Massive?
No.
Okay.
And there was like a secret area we were trying to get into. But like the whole world was just more floors of this building in whatever direction you went.
Definitely sounds like Wild Massive.
It was all maybe being run by a giant corporation.
Was
Very
it a
dystopian.
theme park?
It was not even slightly a theme park, no. Although that would be very on brand for my dreams. Park dreams.
That's for the second season of your dream.
That's for the second season of my dream. I'll let you know when it comes. I'm waiting for it.
I'm sorry, buddy.
Well, we are 1 minute from the official end of our runtime. So, any final words?
Not really.
It's summer officially, I think.
Not yet. Not till the 21st of June or 20th.
It has suddenly started behaving like summer this week. I'm so excited. I'm done with jackets and sweaters and being cold.
The pollen in here would beg to differ, Dai.
I mean, yeah, pollen. Well, pollen is a springtime thing for me.
For me, it's like from the start of usually around March until the end of August, it's all pollen season because I'm allergic to haze, flowers, and trees.
For me, it is year round.
Yes.
So it doesn't matter.
I'm
does
allergic
not go away.
to a lot of grasses around here, which go bonkers in the summer. So
Yeah.
it's been terrible. And there's a really good chance that I'm going to get bronchitis from allergies again this year, which would suck because I don't want a repeat of Ireland when we went to Dublin and I had bronchitis. I was coughing the entire time.
Yeah, I will say the main reason I don't technically want it to be summer yet is because summer means fire season.
Yeah.
Yes.
I thought
The joys of living on the West Coast.
Summer means drowning season over here.
I mean, yes, there's that too, but like fire season, like
meow.
fire season is its own brand of hell.
Basically extreme weather season.
Yeah, no, thank you. Yeah. We just had like
I
thunderstorms.
Proactively buy a new air filter for my apartment in case we get fire season in New York unexpectedly again this year.
Yeah, always be prepared for fire season.
I am prepared this year as I was not last year because I was not
Oh
expecting.
yes, I remember. I remember the smoke, the fog.
I only had like a tiny little air filter last year, and it was not good enough. I'm like, no, upgrading. Do you hear this cat cry behind the table? No, come here. You have something to say? Come here and say it.
I think next month we're gonna be on my channel, if I remember correctly.
I think so.
Whatever it says in the description of the live show, which I do not have up right now, but yes.
Yes, we'll figure the time and let you know.
We'll try not to go like a month and a half in between live shows again, but
no promises.
People were busy in May, so
yeah,
I
was melting in Florida.
I am going to be melting in various places in the next month.
Well, everybody have fun, stay safe, cross fingers, no terrible wildfire season, and we will be back soon on Reija's channel, and until then, happy reading, happy watching. We'll catch up with you again soon. Bye.